Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? It is Sunday, January the 5th, 2014. This is episode number 116 of Timberwolves Explosion. I am your host, Joey, and that's it. I'm your host, Paladino Joey. Yes, Joey Awajan. I'm riding solo today for whatever reason. I guess I'm just going to be doing it solo because I have no idea where Marcus is. Let's just get on with the show. I don't have the patience for that anymore. All right, here we go. We're going to have a slightly different arrangement today, I suppose, because I'm solo. We got to do it a certain way. We're going to jump straight into the Timberwolves right away. Not so much league talk, obviously, this time around. Maybe throw in something, but in case Marcus shows up at some point, I have no idea. So we'll maybe save the league talk for the next time we get together. All right, so let's get stuck straight into it. We only have 2 games to review, so that's the good part in terms of stuff, material in game reviews. Not so much to get into, obviously. A win and a loss. New Orleans Pelicans game. New Orleans came to Minnesota, January the 1st. So what I'm going to do in this show, it's going to be kind of like Brave the Wild, we'll say. And I guess kind of like Purple Mafia as well, my 2 other shows, where it'll be game review or reviews. In football it's just one game, but game reviews, and then weekly award and demerit, the Lone Wolf Award and the Johnny Flynn Memorial. Then we take a break, then we come back for some previews and such, and some fan interaction. We'll get into that near the end there with the fan interaction. So here we go. Urged on by Vince Germano. Yes, my buddy from the Courtside Podcast, along with Hank McCoy and BG. Yes, sir. Always got to give those guys a shout-out because they're the best. Wednesday, January the 1st, on New Year's. Happy New Year to everybody listening. Yes, sir. Happy New Year indeed. To those of you in Australia and here in Minnesota and all over the place. Australia obviously was a day earlier, so that had to be interesting to have New Year's a bit earlier than most people in the rest of the world. The Wolves start off on the right foot. Yeah, that's the most overrated thing ever. Starting the new year off on the right foot. Let's just get on with the game review. 124-112. Minnesota defeats the New Orleans Pelicans. A team that's, believe it or not, fairly close to the Timberwolves in the standings, which of course is out of the postseason. Yeah, that's the frustrating part. That might be where, sometimes the listenership struggles a bit because of that. Hope you guys out there could tell a friend about the show. Would appreciate that very much. But hey, this was an easy one. Really, nothing about this game stood out other than it just went nicely. Ryan Anderson scored a lot of points for the Pelicans. Who didn't shoot from 3 particularly well. That's kind of what his thing is shooting from 3s. That's his niche, so to speak. Only 2 of 8 from the floor, 25%. Alrighty then. But he did shoot 10 of 15 from the floor. Had a nice game overall. Anthony Davis was a bit chippy throughout the entire game. Jrue Holiday ran into some issues as well. Hurt a bit. Anthony Davis was getting into it quite a bit with Dante Cunningham. It seemed like it was a back and forth type of deal. That was interesting. No idea what the point of that was. Other than I guess it's just 2 guys getting physical, and Anthony Davis thinks he's the greatest thing ever, when in reality, whatever. He did not have that great of a game. Didn't shoot poorly, but only 13.6 rebounds, but he did get 4 blocks, showing some athleticism on the floor, did Mr. Anthony Davis. But really, the rest of the Pelicans, I'm a big fan of Jrue Holiday. That's one thing right there. He did have a 19-point game, by the way. In only 22 minutes, he scored 19 points and managed to get 5 assists, but turned the ball over 4 times. Kind of a sloppy game. A couple of teams that were just kind of, I don't know what the heck it was. Like 2 teams that were playing not to win, maybe. I don't know. Dante Cunningham had by far his best game in quite a while, and as I mentioned, got on Anthony Davis's nerves quite a bit. The previous game, Kevin Love had called out his teammates. Yes, he called out his teammates. That was nice of him. Saying we need more help from the bench. Only 4 points or whatever it was in the Dallas game. And J.J. Barea really took offense to that. Apparently, after the game, he was like, I don't like it. But hey, I'm not going to get into that. He was kind of saying stuff like that. He just said, well, we responded. So that's good. Kevin Love, hey, go ahead and get on your teammates' nerves if it's going to make them play better, I suppose. J.J. Barea, the man of the hour in that case. In only 18 minutes, was 7 of 9 from the floor, managed to get 17 points and 5 assists. Alexei Shved chipping in 10 points off the bench as well. Hit half of his shots, all of them three-point attempts, and made all of his free throws. So not a bad game for Alexei. Overall, not the most notable type of game ever. Ricky Rubio very close to a triple-double again. Where his offense has improved a little bit of late. And like I said, earlier in the season, he'd been driving to the basket nicely, using that awesome ball handling skill that he has, crossovers and all that, getting to the hoops. Hey, if you're not going to make shots, at least attack the basket. And Rubio has been doing that. And as I mentioned, only 1 assist shy of a triple-double and then 2 rebounds shy of it. So not bad at all. Corey Brewer, another struggle. Another game where he just didn't do all that much, even though Rubio managed to get 9 assists. Only like one of his hoops were from Ricky Rubio. So 5 points for Brewer. Not the best game in the world. Love shot poorly, which is kind of ironic considering how well the bench played. I mean, Cunningham was 5 of 6 from the floor. Barea 7 of 9. So the bench just excellent in this game. Even Shabazz Muhammad put a little nice move on. Yeah, kind of a fadeaway type of move, or actually a turnaround jumper on the baseline in the final 2 minutes. Able to nail it. Got it like that. Zheng added a block. Another situation where these guys need to get some minutes, and they're not getting minutes, and there's nothing we can do because Rick Edelman's just going to stay this way about it forever, and it's really frustrating and all that good stuff. So, yes, the Timberwolves, before the next game, which was last night's game, Saturday night, January the 4th, against the Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the most frustrating games ever, considering how it looked like the Wolves were going to win it, and then it didn't, and then they looked like they were, and then ultimately they did not. But no, before all that, Shabazz Muhammad sent down to the D-League to get more minutes, apparently, because, and then Flip Saunders saying, well, he'll probably get more minutes in the 4 games in the D-League than he'll get up here all year, which... yeah, that doesn't sound good at all. I don't know if that's Flip kind of taking a side shot at Rick Edelman a little bit. Like, yeah, Rick's not going to play him anyway, so let's at least get him in the D-League and all that good stuff. But either way, I guess Shabazz will get some minutes, and I do like that part. What annoyed me a little bit is how they're like, oh, well, you're not going to send down Gorgui Dieng to the D-League because, well, he's in Edelman's rotation. Really? He's in Edelman's rotation? Gorgui Dieng's in Edelman's rotation? Well, if this current game, if this particular game right here against the Pelicans is an indicator of how much Gorgui Dieng is in the rotation, then no, he's not, because he played the exact amount of time as Shabazz Muhammad, and ladies and gentlemen, that's been going on the whole season. Gorgui Dieng barely gets off the bench. Barely, basically as much as Shabazz. Maybe once in a while he'll get 2 minutes. That's not rotation, man. Rotation is like 15 or 16 minutes a game, up to 25-ish if you're not in like the starting lineup. You know, that's a rotation player would be Cunningham, Barea, Shved, and Luke Richard. It's not. And even Robbie Hummel to an extent, because you actually see Robbie Hummel more often than you see Shabazz or Gorgui Dieng. So to say Gorgui is in the rotation, yeah, right, man. Yeah, right. And plus the fact about Shabazz getting sent down also related to the obviously the ultimate likelihood of Chase Budinger returning to the lineup here within the next week or two, I might imagine. Same with Rony Turiaf. So goody gumdrops. I guess Gorgui Dieng's going to get 0 minutes then, because Turiaf always took those minutes anyway. Maybe less minutes at center for Dante Cunningham, which probably is a good thing. Or just we can all forget about the $5 million Luke Richard Mahmoute. Yeah, some of you are higher on him than I am. I'm not high on him at all. Marcus isn't high on him. I know Vince is a little bit higher on him than others. I don't know what to say. We're going to get to that in the Facebook part very shortly. But yes, Shabazz Muhammad down to the AAA. No, down to the AAA, down to the NBDL, which is in Iowa, just like the Minnesota Wild. They have their minor league affiliate in in Iowa. Pardon me, I'm going crazy here. So yes, last night's game was a loss. Oh, it was a loss. Oh my God, was it frustrating. Oh, yes, Saturday, January the 4th, 2014. 115 to 111. Wolves can't beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Looked like they had them beat all night. Kevin Durant, an unbelievable game. Regardless of how frustrated I was watching this, and regardless of how much he pissed me off, Kevin Durant's different lately. He's a different character out there. 48-point game, 48 points, played about 43 minutes, and this was not an overtime game either, so no bloated numbers at all. He was able to get a block, 2 steals, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds, and yes, 48 points. A very key stat is he only missed 1 free throw, and he was very clutch from three-point land as well. Just a massive, massive game for Kevin Durant, but as mentioned, a bit chippy and a bit floppy as well. Very, very much reminded me of Chris Paul in this game. Really got on my nerves, actually, quite a few times. Kevin Love, well, he was good in some ways and extremely frustrating in others. The free throws yesterday killed this team. And not just by Kevin Love, but by the whole team. You don't shoot 18 of 29 in a game when Kevin Durant's scoring 48 points and expect to win the game, regardless if you're at home or away. The frustration was off the charts. Pekovic made only 5 of 8. Corey Brewer missed half of his, 2 of 4. Kevin Love, 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Didn't get a call in Ibaka, but then finally did later in the game. We'll get back to that in a second. Overall, Pekovic was good. Martin was all right. Rubio passed very well, got some steals, 10 assists, very aggressive passing style by Rubio, which is nothing new necessarily, but only 2 turnovers, so that's good. Had a really awesome, strong pass to Love going into the basket. Really like Kevin Love's little hook that he has now. It's not like the baby hook that Pekovic had last year that was getting on my nerves. It's an actual good-looking hook that goes in. Really happy about that. But the ultimate story of this game is that Timberwolves are not clutch. And Kevin Durant, of course, okay, better team, all that good stuff, but Timberwolves are not clutch. And, yeah, there was a similar situation at the end, similar to the Dallas Mavericks game. In this case, the Wolves trailed by 2, just like the Mavericks game. Kevin Love was fouled by Ibaka. Now, earlier in the game, he was fouled and did not get the call, but finally did get a call in this case. Love was shooting a 3-point shot. Ibaka obviously follows him, and they do call it with about 2 seconds left or something like that. So a chance to make 3 free throws. 3. He could make all 3, and we could go home. Very good chance we could go home winners in this situation. That'd be so cool. But then he clangs the first, and it's like, you got to be kidding. He missed a free throw just like he was earlier in the game again. Huge free throws you have to make. And then he misses the second, and it's like, that's it. Everybody's out of the building, walking for the exits. Misses the third on purpose. The clock expires. No basket. Nothing happened. And the Wolves lose. Complete lack of clutch ability by Kevin Love and by other members of this team. Seems like every time you need to make a basket, you're down by a basket or something. Yeah, you're down by a point, or it's a tie game or whatever with the buzzer, about to happen, like just a few seconds remaining, and it's like the collars around these players' necks just seem to close in about 3 sizes, and that drives me absolutely nuts. It's not luck. It's just they're not clutch. There's nothing to do about luck. Nothing to do about, a better team won. No. Yeah, okay, maybe they're better, but that doesn't mean, but that's not why they won. It's because we choked. It's because we choked, and I got into it on Twitter a little bit with a guy who we eventually kind of came to an agreement, were agreeing with each other about stuff when he realized I wasn't just saying, such bad luck, it's not fair. That's not what I was saying, and I was trying to tell him that. I'm not sure if he's a listener or not. I hope so. Somebody has to be. Right? Yeah, that was Tom Gorgon. Tom Gorgon, eventually he was staying fair enough, but for the longest time he thought like I was nuts and what the hell am I talking about? But, yeah. Lots of interaction on Twitter about that game. Almost got to get into the Twitter now and get to the Facebook later. I think I will do the Twitter now because it was pretty much almost everything was about that game, but just about... me and Vince Germano were making fun of coaches or something. Yeah, earlier in the week I was talking about how the Knicks beat the Spurs and the Nets beat the Thunder. The end is coming, and Vince says, and D'Antoni's still coaching. And I said, that's a definite sign of the end. Ha ha ha. Oh, I love it. Silverstream B. I introduced her for the first time. Maybe she's listening to the show for the third time because she said she's heard it twice before and that it was very interesting. So nice to hear from you. She was teasing me saying, because my phone accidentally said T-Wolves at one point, not Knicks. I don't know how that happened. Very frustrating. But ultimately she was saying she liked the show and all that, so really appreciate that. Paul Prime was saying great episode, but I think he was talking about the Hoops podcast. Look at you. You got to listen to us too now. Yeah, the Hoops podcast with Pumpa and Boof. Excellent. It's a basketball show. Pumpa is a Warriors fan. Boof is a Celtics fan. Yep, so definitely a good one right there. Min Sport Report following me recently. Having a little interaction with me a little bit there. I guess he liked a lot what I was saying because he's favoring it like crazy. So thank you for that. Tom Gorgon, though, yeah, we had an ongoing conversation. He was saying lack of fourth quarter execution, not luck, and I was saying I never said luck. So eventually we came to an agreement. Do appreciate that. He was saying for a team that needs great ball movement, it doesn't happen in the fourth. That's for darn sure. He continues saying, I don't think they can have Brewer and Rubio in the game in those situations. There's no shooters. Yeah, they're not really shooters. No, sometimes Brewer can hit a corner three, but I've never known him to be clutch. Rubio to date is definitely not clutch. That's for darn sure. Brent Veal, of course. Yes, sir, my buddy. Mr. Train saying, he's also from Australia, saying, it's not going too well for you boys this year, is it? Is it, mate? At least the Wolves are healthy, unlike my Lakers. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Maybe the Lakers will be getting Andrew Bynum back at some point. We'll see. I'm not sure what Mr. Train thinks about that one. We will see. Silverstream B was saying, so sad the Timberwolves lost. That's for sure. Yep, she's saying that damn Blazers game as well. Both ends sucked about the offense and the defense. And she continues saying, it just seems today was an off day for everyone. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, it was a frustrating one. Love couldn't make squat. Lakers Summer Kitty also hops on board. So, yeah, I gave her a follow. She gave us a follow as well. Thank you for that. We had a little conversation back and forth saying she'd check out the show. Hopefully she likes it. And Silverstream B wrapping things up on the Twitter account, which is at Wolves Explosion. At Wolves Explosion, and Marcus's Twitter is at ForecasterTE, all one word in both cases. She says, I made Ricky Rubio picture with my favorite book series. It's awesome. Well, there you go. All right. That's cool. Thank you for that. And thank you, everybody that did tweet me. Do give that a follow if you could. At Wolves Explosion and at ForecasterTE. Very simple stuff. So, let's try to wrap things up here with a Lone Wolf and a, oh man. It's like, how can I do this? A Lone Wolf and a Johnny Flynn Memorial. It would have been Kevin Love, but unfortunately, multiple things frustrating here. Love's 11-game streak of 25-point games came to an end in the Pelicans game. He didn't necessarily play too well in that one, but it didn't matter. The Wolves played great. His numbers were excellent in the Thunder game, which it seems like they always are, despite the fact Ibaka's an elite defender, which actually that makes Love look pretty good, but missing those free throws down the stretch were insanely frustrating for me. I couldn't believe it. It just drove me nuts. Oh, man. I mean, Love was the one guy on this team you could say you could count on. Like, he's clutch. There's a guy that's clutch. He'll get it done. It's Kevin Love, baby. Kevin Love is clutch. He's way more clutch than Garnett, and he is. But boy, he certainly looked like Garnett at the end of this last game with Oklahoma, missing free throws like Garnett used to do all the time. When you gave Garnett the ball late in the game, all the time he would clang it off the rim, and I would always scream and get pissed off. And who wouldn't, right? It's like I'm afraid to give it to Pekovic too because there's so many key rebounds that he doesn't get. He's just not quick. And obviously his interior defense is non-existent. Love's is better. I mean, he blocked Kevin Durant at one point on a dunk. That was incredible. I'll give it to Love. Reluctantly, because even though he missed those 3 free throws, and I wanted to throw a freaking brick at his head when he missed them. And no, not literally. I mean at the TV And no, I don't want to break my TV either, but figuratively, I wanted to throw a brick at his head. Oh my God! It's just, you have to make those, man. Come on. We're counting on you, man. More than anybody. We count on him more than Garnett offensively, much more in the old days. Yeah. So, but he'll get the lone wolf anyway. He had a good game, and that block on Durant kind of sort of helped make up for it because it was surprising how good his defense actually was at some points in the game. Not all the time, but it's better than Pekovic, so I can't give it to Pekovic either. Just no hustle whatsoever with the guy. Never rebounds anything. You know, when you need a rebound from the guy, he won't get it, and it drives me nuts. So yes, Kevin Love gets the lone wolf. Johnny Flynn Memorial, boy. I guess Corey Brewer. He's kind of been struggling of late. He kind of had a rough week. I can't give it to like Shved because he didn't really factor in enough. Shabazz Muhammad, yeah, why would I give it to him? What's the point, right? He didn't. He doesn't. It's not his. Well, maybe it is his fault that he hasn't been playing, but how would I know? I mean, I haven't seen anything. They're saying he works hard in practice, and I don't really want to give it to Adelman, even though I'd love to. I mean, I shouldn't give it to Adelman, even though I'd love to. So, Cunningham was not good at all in the Oklahoma game, but he was pretty good in the Pelicans game. The bench, well, Kevin Love's got a point here. How many points did the bench score against the Oklahoma City Thunder? 5 points, all by J.J. Barea. Nothing for Cunningham, nothing for Shved, nothing for Hummel, so on and so forth. So it's funny how it all went right back to the same thing again. And this game was eerily similar to the Dallas Mavericks game. Very frustrating. The Wolves were playing well, though, and they gave up a lead in this one, so that's not good either. Ah, boy. Johnny Flynn Memorial. It's tough. I can't give it to Barea because he had an awesome game against the Pelicans. Oh, man, it's hard. I'll give it to Corey Brewer because he did shoot poorly. He was clanging shots like crazy in the Oklahoma City game. Did basically nothing in the Pelicans game. So Corey Brewer, by default, is going to wind up with the short straw and the Johnny Flynn Memorial. So there you go. We will take a quick break. We'll get back to preview a couple games through next week, and we will see what happens. Hopefully Marcus will be back with me next week. I have no idea, though. You just never know. We'll see. All right, so we will be back right after this.
Shop on Amazon. Did you know that you can support this podcast just by doing your normal shopping on Amazon? It's really easy to do. Just go to thesportstuff.com and click on one of the many Amazon pictures. Do your normal shopping, and Amazon sees that we referred you, and they give us a percentage. We'd like to thank you in advance for supporting thesportstuff.com, and please use our Amazon link. Now enjoy the rest of the show.
We are going round like Saturn's ring.
And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, episode number 116, which is a reminder for those of you out there on your mobile devices, for Apple devices like iPods and iPhones and iPads and all that crap. No, all that stuff. Well, simply look for us in iTunes, in the iTunes store. So, Timberwolves Explosion, very simple there. For Android devices, there's the Double Twist application. You get that from the Android store. Click on the podcasting button on there, and then search for Timberwolves Explosion. For Windows and BlackBerry phones and devices, simply search for Timberwolves Explosion in your store on there, and you will find us. That way you can listen to us on the go. Rock and roll indeed. So now I try to dig into the schedule again. Back to work, guys, back to work. The Timberwolves head to the city of brotherly love tomorrow night, Monday, January the 6th, to play the Philadelphia 76ers. That'll be fun. So I hope. Not the best team in the world, absolutely. Wolves did beat them at home earlier this season in a game. They had to make a little comeback in that one, but the Wolves did get it done and finish the job. The Philadelphia 76ers, after a strong start, are now 12-21. Basically, everybody's picking the Wolves to win this one, and I hope they do. That would be great. I hope so. Yes. Overall, It's like, who do the Sixers have anymore? Well, they still have Evan Turner, and they still have a guy named Thaddeus Young, who Vince Germano believes the Wolves should trade for. I'm not sure if the Wolves have the pieces to even make a trade anymore. It's real frustrating. I have no idea who the Wolves are going to wind up with. So those are the main guys. Evan Turner, Spencer Hawes, Thaddeus Young kind of leading the way there. James Anderson I know very little about, honestly. But those are the guys leading the way over in Philly. I do believe the Wolves can and will win this one. And if they don't, well, that's not good at all. That would be quite a huge shame if the Wolves can't win this one. Michael Carter-Williams, of course, also playing fairly well there. But, he should be okay. He did hurt his head on Saturday, though, in a win over the Trailblazers. So, yes, Michael Carter-Williams is a guy I also have to mention when I say leading the way for the Philadelphia 76ers. He is a nice rookie, obviously, 11th overall pick by the Sixers. Well, shoot. Maybe the Wolves should have taken him instead of Shabazz Muhammad. Yeah, they should have just taken him at the 10th overall pick. That would have been nice, but the Wolves did not get that done, unfortunately. They traded down and took Shabazz. Gorgui Dieng, who I do like a lot, so no problem with that. But Shabazz, well, I wasn't too high on the pick, but at the same time, he has displayed scoring ability, especially in his college days, and a lot of people believe he could bring that to the NBA, but of course has not yet to date. And Michael Carter-Williams is averaging 17 points and like 7 assists or something right now with the Philadelphia 76ers. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. And he is 6'6". It's not like he's like a full-blown point guard. He can kind of be both. Oh, man. And he's averaging about 6 rebounds and like 3 steals. The guy's a beast. Oh, Flip. You're off to a bad start as the president of basketball operations. I'm not going to lie. I'm disappointed, actually, in Flip Saunders so far. I'm telling you right here, guys. I'm giving you the straight-up, honest truth. I'm being real with you. I'm not happy with Flip so far. So, yes, with that said, I believe the Wolves can and will beat the 76ers in the Eastern Conference game there. And if they don't, fire Adelman. That would be really ridiculous. You better win that game, Minnesota. And again, if you don't, that would be really disappointing. This team just can't. The Wolves can't even get over 500, which is really maddening. And I don't know if they will or not. Phoenix Suns come to Target Center on Wednesday. Pelicans come to the Pelicans. What am I talking about? The Bobcats, soon to be Hornets, come on Friday. I'm going to preview all 4 games briefly here. Phoenix Suns come into Minnesota. You know, there was a point in time, not that long ago, I would have thought this would have been an easy win. But the Phoenix Suns are 20-12. It's no joke anymore, and we talked about them extensively on the last episode. It's no joke. 20-12. Maybe that's whatever spot they're in. That's probably the spot the Timberwolves were going to occupy in their playoffs in the Western Conference. For a team that's for the most part healthy in the Timberwolves, you would have thought for sure this is the year the Wolves are going to the postseason. Now, I don't know, and I do think Rick Adelman and Flip Saunders both have their fingerprints on this record. Adelman absolutely does. This is just, yeah, there's a reason why this team is not winning games, and part of it is they're not clutch. Part of it is they don't use their bench at all. Maybe, and part of that might be that Flip didn't take the right guys also. So, in the draft. It's not all on Flip, obviously. David Kahn signed Barea, who was in and out. All that good stuff. So, you get the idea. It's just frustrating to see how good the Phoenix Suns are playing and how big of a non-factor the Timberwolves are right now. I mean, we're like 4 games behind, 4.5 games behind the Phoenix Suns right now in the Western Conference. Ridiculous. Just, oh my God. Utterly ridiculous. I'm having a huge problem with that one. And like I said on the last show, there's like 7 guys averaging double-digit points a game. Or was it 8? I mean, it's just unbelievable. It is utterly ridiculous. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seems like it should be higher than that. Oh, well, I guess Plumlee dropped down below. He's down at 9.9, but we'll say that's double digits. So that would be 7 guys over double digits. Yeah, that is crazy. And then you got PJ Tucker almost at double digits as well, averaging 9.2 points a game. Like I said on the last episode, this is a team. The Suns are playing like a team. And that's it's just amazing what they've been able to do. Eric Bledsoe and Goran Dragic really leading the way right with the scoring with the Suns. They're just playing phenomenal basketball for rookie coach Jeff Hornacek. He would have been a nice fit on this team, wouldn't he? Jeff Hornacek's doing a hell of a job in Phoenix, and good on him. And I don't think the Wolves win that one. I just don't. I mean, the way the Wolves are playing right now, I don't think so. I mean, maybe a small chance, but the Wolves will be denied 500, getting over 500 yet again. It's so frustrating watching the Wolves. They can't even get over 500. It's like, really? It's freaking ball, isn't it? It really is. So then the Bobcats come to town. You better not pout because the Charlotte Bobcats are coming to town. Yes, sir. They're 15-20. They're not really the slouch that they've been the past 3-4 years now. I mean, they made the playoffs maybe 3 years ago, was it? They made the playoffs, but got swept in the first round. Their only playoff berth. Just like in and out right away. When Gerald Wallace was still there and all that, and Jordan had recently taken over the ownership of that team. But yeah, Charlotte is now 15-20. They're doing a lot better. I do think the Wolves win this one, though. I got to think the Wolves could pull this one off, even though the Bobcats are better. Al Jefferson comes back to town. You got Ramon Sessions. Lots of Wolves, or at least a few Wolves connections to this one. Jefferson, Ramon Sessions. I thought there were more than this. Yeah, we got Gerald Henderson, a guy who the Wolves, a lot of people think should have gotten. We still have Gilchrist, but of course he's out with a broken hand. Sessions, Kemba Walker, all these nice players. Cody Zeller, we were kind of laughing about in that one. Very winnable game for the Timberwolves. I got to think they can get this one done. So then back to 500 we go. We're going to basically be a 500 team. We're just going to keep, we'll get below 500 and get right back at 500 again. We'll rock and roll there. Al Jefferson doing his thing in Charlotte. It'll be nice to see him in a Hornets jersey next year. Yes, I'm looking forward to that when they come out. But he's no all-star though. Only averaging about 17.5 points a game. Not going to be enough not going to be enough to beat the Wolves at home in this one. Though on the road, I would be a little bit worried. You never know. Don't necessarily like the Wolves' chances on the road against many people right now. And I'm sorry to say that, even though we might squeak out something here and there. Something needs to change, or we just need to get lucky, need to get hot somewhere along the lines here. So that was Friday, January the 10th, when the Bobcats come to town. So we will wrap up the previews Sunday, January the 12th in San Antonio. Plain and simple. You can spell it out in 4 letters. Loss. L-O-S-S. Loss. 26-8. San Antonio Spurs. Yes, the Wolves beat San Antonio in San Antonio once last year, but that was the last game of the season when the Spurs, Popovich did. They took a break, basically, in that one. It was the last game of the season. And it paid, stuff like that paid out for the Spurs last year. They went all the way to the finals and almost won it until Craig Walton's club finished the job with that amazing sixth game and phenomenally good 7th game. Miami Heat were able to pull that one off. I'd much rather see the Heat win than the Spurs, without a doubt. Sorry, guys out there that hate the Heat. I'm not one of you. I'm on Craig Walton's side in that one. Hopefully he's listening, by the way. But the Spurs, they're a team and all that good stuff. They have 5 guys scoring double figures. Marco Bellinelli's been a nice addition. The former Chicago Bull and Hornet, I believe. Former, Hornet/Pelican, that Hornet. That's going to get confusing. Kawhi Leonard's still doing his thing, but really I think he's taken a little bit of a step back this year, honestly. A little bit. He's not bad or anything, but I don't know. Yeah, his 3-point percentage is significantly down from last year. His free throw percentage is down quite a bit, actually. His minutes are down a little bit. His field goal percentage is pretty much identical. So, but overall, just not as sharp as he was last year. He better hope he can pick things up as the year moves on, and I kind of think he will at some point in time. Duncan still as solid as ever for the Spurs. I don't think the Wolves could beat them. Ginobili, Parker, the same pains in the butt that they've always been. Parker much more deadly from 3-point range than Ginobili is nowadays compared to what he'd been in the past. Bellinelli's been scorching the net about 50% from 3-point range. Danny Green about 40%. I think his numbers are down a bit this year too compared to the past couple of years. So, or at least last year, excuse me. But with that said, the Spurs will absolutely beat the Timberwolves. They'll find a way to get it done, as they always do, with their chippy, annoying way, like Tony Parker, who drives me nuts. To me, he's just another much better version of Derek Fisher. He's a much better version of Derek Fisher, where he's a little bit chippy and he gets away with stuff, and he always makes everything when it counts. It's like, it can drive you nuts because I never want the Spurs to win. No, especially when they're playing us. But I don't want them to beat like the Heat or anybody really. The Lakers, I guess it's kind of back and forth with that one, but most of the time I don't want the Spurs to win. If it's against the Thunder, I'd want them to win because I'm not a fan of the Thunder either. But whatever. I'm such a hater. I hate everyone equally, don't I? But yeah, so the Wolves will go 1-3 this week, and 500 will be denied yet again. Ooh, 500 denied again. No, they will go 500. They will go 500. Pardon me. They'll go 2-2 because I had us beating the Sixers and Bobcats, and if you don't win both of those, you suck. So got the Wolves winning those. So let's try to get into fan interaction here as best I can. It's I already did the Twitter, so that's cool. Facebook page, simply look up Timberwolves Explosion, Minnesota Timberwolves Show on Facebook. All you got to say is when there's if two of them come up, there's company and group. Click on the one that says company, not group, and then click like, and go from there. There's a lot of stuff here. That's why I didn't want to do this one solo. Actually, I may leave some of it for when it's not solo again, when we're back together again. Belcher's back on here. Belcher, yep, the forecaster anyway. Okay, I'll get to him. Tanae Brown saying that Edelman said he misses Steamsma and his shot blocking. Does he even know Zheng is on this team? Awesome comment there, Tanae. I think that's a gold star right there. That's big time. Really like what you had to say there. He misses Steamsma, really. The guy with no range, but maybe he'd block a shot once in a while, versus Zheng? Edelman? Are you kidding me? Greg Steamsma drove me nuts last year. He's about as stiff as an old tree. I mean, what the hell is this? What are you talking about, Edelman? Oh, my goodness. That got me going. The earlier comments I'd already read. So, yes, that was the oldest one by Tanae Brown. That was, yes, against the Pelicans. All right. So, you got the... Where am I? Vince Germano saying he's watching the Pelicans Wolves replay, and I think you guys are a wee bit harsh on Mamute. He isn't an elite defender like a Bruce Bowen, but he does D up pretty well. Don't get me wrong. I can see and totally get why you would be disappointed considering what you gave up, but I just think Mamute is a good defender. Fair enough, Vince. Fair enough. Yeah, he does D up a little bit. Zero offensive ability. No one's scared of him when he has the ball. And when he does have the ball, half the time, it's a disaster. It is a bloody disaster, mate. Without a doubt. Just disaster up the yin-yang for Monsieur Mahmoute. And yes, it is a Monsieur. Tanae Brown saying Peck. Peck is going to the OKC game with an injury. If we see the normal injured Peck, where he loses his effectiveness, Edelman will have to put Zheng in. And Shabazz has been put down to the D-League. Wonder what we could get for trading him. That's a good question. Tanae saying, well, Peck proved me wrong. And yes, Peck did play very, very well in that game, Mr. Tanae. Yes, he did. Peck played excellent. In fact, I almost gave him the award. It's just the fact he's so immobile getting those rebounds. When you need him to hustle and get them, he just doesn't. So that drove me nuts. This one, I'll read it now and I'll save it. Hopefully I can remember to save it and forward it on to my co-host if and when he's back on the show. Hopefully. So Vince says, question for both of you. If you're the GM of the Wolves right now, what moves, oh yeah, this is a tough one. What moves or who are you targeting at trade deadline? Obviously, Love is untouchable, but are you both willing to trade Rubio or Peck? It depends on what we're getting, Vince. I'll say if I would trade, I heard some weird rumor out there about package deals involving Rubio and Rondo. Yeah, I would do that. I heard people say, oh, no way, I would never do it. No, man, I would do that. What has Rubio done to tell me that he's better than Rondo? Are you kidding me? Rubio's not better than Rondo. He's not. Rondo is further around. Pekovic, I would look at Omer Asik from the Houston Rockets. Possibly, yeah. I mean, he's a better rebounder, better defender than Pekovic. I would look at that. Obviously, the money doesn't add up. We'd have to have more coming back with Asik to get that done, unfortunately. But I don't know if the Rockets would be able to would want to do that. Would they want Shved? I don't know who wants Shved right now, and he's making like $3 million a year or so. So that would add up even more, having to come back our way. Maybe we'd have to take on some junk contract from the Houston Rockets. But that's what I would possibly look at is Asik, I suppose. And, hey, if that Rondo thing is true, I would at minimum explore it. At minimum explore it. I mean, I love Rubio. I'm not saying let the door hit him or the good Lord split him. He's a great player. He's a good guy. Nice leader of this team. Rondo is kind of an attitude. That's the one thing that I don't like about him, and I'm sure that might be what other people are. But I'd at least explore it. I wouldn't just throw it under the garbage. Odds are neither will happen anyway. So moving on to Tanae Brown, and yes, I will get that to Marcus later on, and yeah, we'll redo that question on the next episode if my stupid butt will remember, and I hope I will. Possibly maybe repost this, Vince, maybe later on, like a week from now or something. That way it can get on the next episode. Tanae is saying it'll be hard to move Peck with his contract now. As a big fan of Rubio as I am, we need a point guard that can score. If we traded Rubio, though, I bet he'd turn into one of the best point guards in the league. Yeah, with our luck, that's probably what would happen. Vince saying, tell you what, though, Peck's living up to that contract, which would be a tad easier to move. That's the thing. He is scoring. So, yeah. So maybe they would be willing to give up Asik in Houston, but that deal wouldn't make any more sense for Houston than, it would be a three-way deal, though. Yeah, it would be a three-way deal where somebody else would get Pekovic. Somebody else. I can't even think of who that would be. Would it be the Celtics or something? I have no idea. I'm just making a team up. Kalen Woods with a couple of interesting ones up here. It's kind of busy on here, so maybe it's better that I'm doing this solo. I have no idea. Because, me and Marcus just go on and on forever. So I gotta stop talking about the co-host constantly on a solo show. That sounds kind of dorky of me. Kalen Woods saying found on Hoops Rumors. The Wolves informed Shabazz Muhammad he's going to the D-League in Des Moines. Yes, and Jerry Zagoda was saying he was quoting Flip, saying he could play more minutes. Yep, like I was saying earlier, then he would play all year. The 14th overall pick has played sparingly in just 11 of 32 games so far this season. Meanwhile, Saunders says he hasn't considered asking Robbie Hummel or Gorgui Dieng to do the same because both of them have been part of Adelman's rotation. A couple of interesting things, of course. Shabazz will play more minutes in the 4-game stint in the D-League than he would all year because he is averaging about 30 seconds per game. And since when has Dieng been part of the rotation? Yeah, Kalen, exactly. When has Dieng been part of the rotation? That's the exact point I was trying to make as well earlier. Awesome thought there. He continues saying, yes, this is very cool right here. Very interesting. Yeah, Kalen saying, another Hoops Rumors find seems Derek, as in Derek Williams, found himself on the bench in Sacramento after the trade, especially after the Rudy Gay trade. I thought they were looking at Rudy Gay and Derek Williams at 3 and 4. Looks like the Wolves lucked out a bit. Yeah, that is a really good point there, Kalen. That's a really good point because Derek Williams, you can't really find him with a searchlight all of a sudden. Remember how just a couple weeks ago it was like, oh, Derek Williams, oh no, oh man, look at that athleticism, he's starting already for the Sacramento Kings, gosh, what's going on? We really blew it this time. And watching Mamute dribble off his foot when he tried to do a Dominic Wilkins spin move, and unfortunately he doesn't have the ball handling skills of a mouse. So, well, he's got the ball handling skills of a giraffe, dude. Good luck, with Mamute dribbling the basketball and doing a spin move into the lane. That ain't going to happen. Not in the NBA. Maybe in college or something he could look like Dominique. Not in the NBA. Not that guy. But, yeah, Derek Williams, he's looking like a giraffe out there for Sacramento again, like he did here at times. So that's not good for him. Maybe it's just maybe he just really is what we thought he was. A bust. What some of us thought he was. A bust. Vince Germano saying, seriously, the Wolves played 2K style defense today. This team doesn't have an identity. Why didn't Kevin Love sit Durant on his arse on a drive to the hoop I saw? Giving up 100 a night is crazy. I'm telling you, I mean, the defense is really bad. So, very strong thoughts there by Vince Germano. Very, very well taken. Very much agreed with. It is a joke. It is a joke. The defense is terrible. And remember how Rick Edelman was making fun of how bad it was when he was watching the video when he first came in as a coach? But, yeah, the year before under Kurt Rambis, the defense was horrendous. Well, it still is horrendous, Rick Edelman. It's your third year. Hank McCoy saying, wow. Hank McCoy, of course, of the Courtside Podcast, saying, wow, Kevin Durant, huh? Here's a question for you guys. How many games have the Wolves lost by less than 5 points this season? I feel like it's a lot. Where would they be sitting in the conference with those extra wins? Thoughts? Exactly, Hank. That is the biggest key of all. That's the gold star comment of the whole show here, right here. Gold star for Hank McCoy, silver star for Tanae Brown, and bronze star for Kalen Woods when he brought up the Derek Williams situation. So I'm going like Purple Mafia here since there's so many comments. And guys, thank you very much for these comments. This is actually great. This is nice. Now you guys are like the co-host. That's partially the idea, having some comments on here. It helps. Hey, it's it's discussion. That's what radio's all about, guys. So keep posting on here. Really appreciate it. All of you keep posting. Kalen Woods, great points. Tanae Brown, always great. Hank and Vince, oh man, love you guys. Keep posting on here. Really appreciate it. So let's get to the point here before I keep rambling and driving everyone nuts. You know what the Wolves' record is when they lose by less than 4 points? Excuse me. Do you know what the Wolves' record is in a 4-point game this year? 0-9. 0-9 in 4-point games. Yeah? In that situation, they're 0-9. They've lost 9 games by less than 4 points this year. By 4 points or less. They've lost 9 games by 4 points or less, Hank. And that is unbelievable when you consider that this team is 500 and what they would be. Let's say if they won 5 of those 9 games. 5. Like we're a little bit on the clutch side. Hey, we won more than half. Barely more than half, but more than half. That's a lot. That's a lot, Hank. That's too many, isn't it? Way too many. So, awesome comment there, Hank. Huge, huge point there. That is the Achilles heel of this team right now. Final comment on the Facebook page, Hank saying, yippee, finally Baza is going to get some playing time with the D-League. Yes, Hank, with the D-League, unfortunately. Now we're just going to have to watch the Iowa City Force, and there you go. Iowa City Force. Yeah. Hey, get on the computer and look it up. Damn it. Get on the computer and look it up if you're curious how Shabazz is doing. That's about all we can do about that right now. And go from there. Yeah, get on the computer and look it up. Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, Flip, look at you, man. Look at ya! Like I was screaming on YouTube, or Twitter last night, that there's no rhyme or reason. No, there is no rhyme or reason. No, there is no rhyme or reason to this team because finally something good happens. We get a call, and you can't even make your free throws. All the bitching and screaming we did against the Dallas Mavericks last week, and Kevin Love can't even make 1 of 3 free throws, or let's just say 2 of 3, we'll say, because he needed to make 2 of 3 if we were going to have any chance. Couldn't get it done. You got your call, Kevin, and you couldn't get it done. Yes, they missed calls in that game on you, but you got the one you needed to win the game, at least tie it and force overtime, and you blew it. So there you go. That's why I said there's no rhyme or reason. Oh, my goodness gracious. I can't take it anymore. Son of a biscuit. I am telling you. Oh, it looks like there may have been a comment here. Oh, yeah, the Dallas game. This was the Pelicans, after the Pelicans game, Tanae Brown. So we'll get to this with the final comment, saying it was a nice win, but why the hell were the rookies not starting the 4th? Yeah, I only saw on my phone, the score on my phone while I was at work, but it seemed as though we were in complete control of the game. Looked like we could have put Johnny Flynn out there with Darko and still would have won. Gonna watch the game later tonight. Hopefully I'll see a reason why they weren't in the game. And the truth of the matter is, pretty much no reason, man. We sort of let the Pelicans back in the game, but those guys could have at least played a little bit. Yeah, start them out in the 4th, maybe a little bit of energy, something. Maybe Shabazz could give you a quick 6. Gorgie could get some energy on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe a nice alley-oop dunk. Who knows? But no, it was not meant to be because Rick Adelman is a stubborn SOB. With that, I'm going to ask you guys out there, if you could, to call into the phone lines. 209-736-7877. 209-736-7877. It is a voicemail. Do treat it as such. Mention what show you're calling into, which is Timberwolves Explosion. And do your statement, shout out, question, comment, whatever it is. There you go. And boy, oh boy, I did it again, and I really apologize. I blew it again, oddly. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, it's still getting on the show, but it needs to be earlier. Oh my God. The Oddman Media Network. The Oddman Media Network, of course, our flagship website is thesportstuff.com, as I mentioned earlier. I hope I mentioned anyway. I may have forgotten everything because I'm so crazy tonight. But there's also the Oddman Media Network. Type in the and then Oddman, like his audio, AUDMAN.com. And go to that website. The Courtside Podcast is also on there, along with others like NBL Canada and such. He lives in Canada. Great guy. Raptors fan. All that good stuff. Big time basketball website. Do check it out. And of course, thesportstuff.com, like I mentioned, the flagship website of Timberwolves Explosion. There is the crossover podcast on there with the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets. Awesome show. Awesome show, regardless if those teams are doing well or not. More than worth the listen. Also, you can get it on iTunes and such. And my other two shows, Brave the Wild for hockey, the Minnesota Wild, and Purple Mafia for the Minnesota Vikings. I'll be reviewing the wild card football, the NFL playoffs, the first round, very soon here. Probably recording that one tomorrow night if I can. I'll either be releasing it tomorrow night or Tuesday night, depending on my work schedule. Because if I'm working OT, that may end up having to be delayed until Tuesday. We'll see how things can go with that one, at least the release of that show. So, yes, because there's more into doing a show than people may think. You got to get stuff together. You got to have time to record. You got to have time to produce it as well. So there you go. Very simple. All right. So as mentioned earlier, Facebook page. Simply look for us in the search bar. Type in Timberwolves Explosion, Minnesota Timberwolves Show. Go there. Click like. At Wolves Explosion on Twitter. At Wolves Explosion, because Timberwolves Explosion doesn't fit. But Timberwolves Explosion is the name of the show, not Wolves Explosion. And for the Forecaster, his Twitter account is at ForecasterTE. Would appreciate a follow from those of you out there. And hopefully I was able to shout out to you, most of you out there that were tweeting and Facebooking. Well, all of you, really, in this case. Got to all of you. Hoping for the best here. Hopefully we can get some type of win streak going. But as of right now, I doubt it. We'll see, though. You know, in this day and age, you never know. Things change. And maybe the only thing that hasn't been changing is Rick Adelman's habits. Hoping for the best, though, going into the coming week. Go Timberwolves. We'll be back in a week.